So, welcome to everything you need to know about crafting items and item traits in Zenith, the Last City. Now, let's get right into it. I've seen a lot of people say that this isn't worth talking about, but there's actually more eccentricities to it and fully min-maxing your gear than I think a lot of people have given it credit for or even bothered to read up about. So, let's talk about it. Now, mostly we're going to be talking about the endgame level gear here, because when you get over to enhancement's really expensive. So typically you're going to want to save pretty much all of the enhancement materials you get for this endgame gear, because it's going to take a long ass time to get all of them up to level 8. So before that, what does it and all of what I just said even mean? Well, let's look at our gear here and start breaking down piece by piece what everything here means. Now, primary stat is important because it does add in some level of quantity to your various attributes here. You can see that it generally on the Essence Made refers to ability power, but that's going to depend on what subclass that you are. I'm the DPS right now. So that's important. Armor you can read more about over here. Basically just, decreases the amount of damage that you take. The important and tricky part is when we get into these traits here. Now, you'll see that each of these has a tier and a title. Now, for the most part, they do what they say on the label. Vanguard, increased defense, Sprinter, increased stamina, Brutal, slight attack increase. And that's actually something different that we'll get into in a little bit. And then there's deep breathing here that just doesn't have a title. So let's break down here, why are these tiers here and what does that mean? Well, you can roll 3 versions of any given piece of equipment: regular, superior, and flawless. Now, each of those provides a different tier that from tier 1 to 2 provides an increase in the stat provided by that perk. However, as we'll go over here to the wiki and consult, you'll see that the difference between tier 2 and 3 on the ones that we know about and understand doesn't actually provide a difference for the overwhelming majority of abilities except armor, which might not actually be working at the moment, so it's hard to tell whether that actually functions. So generally, if you are to roll a superior piece of gear, it's the same thing as rolling a flawless. That's all you really need. However, when you craft items from a bench, like over here, so this includes all of your epic and legendary items that you craft, you cannot craft any item above regular quality. So don't go crafting items looking for superior or flawless or anything above the tier 1 traits, because it is impossible to roll higher than tier 1 on any of these crafted items. Now, what are these abilities here that don't have titles? What does that mean? Well, you'll see down here that it says tier 1 on there, but these don't actually have tiers, at least as far as we know. If they have tiers, that's going to be news to everyone. I think that's just a visual glitch on the item there. You'll see that each of them has a description on the wiki here, and I will have a link to the wiki, because in-game there is no description for these abilities. Sorry for the hardware failures there, I really need a PC upgrade. But of course that's ludicrously expensive at the moment. So you'll need to consult the wiki to see what each one of these does. There are far too many of them for me to read out every single one. You can see it here, and like I said, I'll have it linked in the description. So yeah, there's that. And if you want to know how to get these legendary and epic items that that are the highest level items you can get, I have a guide on where to get these essences of Sidian, as well as the essences of Arboret that you need for crafting the legendary launcher. Now, I've had some people ask if it's worth getting the legendary launcher when the epic one provides basically the same stats. Now, generally, it's only going to roll one more of those passives that I displayed earlier, so it may or may not ultimately be worth rolling for the legendary. It's more so the swag, if we're going to be entirely honest. The epic provides probably 95% of the functionality in the majority of cases, because the likelihood that you roll a third perk that's actually useful to your class, well, that's not especially high, if we're going to be entirely honest with ourselves. So it might or might not actually be worth grinding out this legendary. Your mileage may vary, and depending on the rolls that you get when you actually press the craft button on these things. So the upgrades, right? Because you'll see here we have +5 and +8 on these various items here. Now, what does that mean? How do you get that? Well, there you'll see the upgrade station like this right here in the central of the main city. These are placed throughout various of the larger areas throughout the world, and you can upgrade your equipment here. Now, you'll see that there is the various aspects of this interface, the item and what level it's going to become, the type of dust that is needed to upgrade, as well as the upgrade chance. And that is right, there are upgrade chances involved in this. Every time you press the button to see if that item's going to go up, it is a roll of the die, except for the first level, which is 100%. So I'll go ahead and hit this on an item that I don't really honestly need to be upgraded, just to demonstrate how it works. You pull the lever here, and it goes up in a level. Now, an important thing to note, you'll see that the rare item that I have here has 2 attributes. Now, when you get an item to +4, it becomes Zen Forged, or Zen Crafted, which you can see on the Kitsune robes here, which would naturally have 3, but instead have a 4th attribute. However, this 4th attribute doesn't roll from the traditional set of attribute tables. Instead, it rolls from this attribute table, which provides weaker attributes than the ones you get for rolling the item initially or your +8 or 10 rolls. So that's going to be a smaller trait than you would otherwise get, but it's the only ones that you can roll on that tier 4 upgrade. Now, when you get to tier 8, you're going to get a regular upgrade, which can be either one of the regular tiered upgrades or one of the named upgrades that aren't otherwise listed. And 10 is the same thing. Of course, the green items can only be upgraded to level 5, so they can only gain that 1 weaker perk. Blue items can be upgraded to level 8, so they can gain the 1 weaker perk and 1 regular perk. And then magic and legendary items can both be upgraded to level 10, gaining 2 additional regular perks and the 1 minor perk. Now, there was a glitch where if you leveled your items to level 10, that it would delete a significant portion of your inventory or roll back your inventory. It's difficult to tell exactly what's happening, as there are only some limited accounts of this, but it is accurate, and I have seen evidence that is credible of this. Now, I haven't seen that that's actually been addressed in any of the patch notes, so whether that's actually been patched out or not, I have been unable to confirm. I would be careful and wait until there's something specifically in the patch notes addressing that issue before upgrading items to level 10, because you don't want to see all that hard work to go for nothing, especially when your crafting chance, which we can show over here on this page, gets down to 40 and 35% chance of upgrading. And I kind of want to take a moment to, if this ever makes its way to anyone who has any say in this, please, for God's sake, get rid of that. I'm going to roll, well, I probably won't roll, but earlier when I was trying to get this item up to level 8, when I had a 40% chance to roll it up to level 8, it took a good 10 tries to get it up to level 8 with a 40% chance. Now, that just says something about me, and I am colossally unlucky. This, I concede. But nonetheless, there does not need to be a random chance of failure. Please no. Please get rid of that. Someone, for God's sake, take that away. Especially when we're talking about the level upgrades that require the rarest materials have the lowest chance of succeeding. It takes a long-ass time to get Mega Enhancement Dust, and you are going to need a lot of it if my personal experience is any indication. Because it probably took, well, it literally took 10 times the amount of dust that you would need to craft this without failures to get it up to level 8, which used all of the super enhancement dust I had gotten through this character up to level 40, plus 2 of the subclasses up to level 25. So that's good. Spoiler alert, it's not good, and I really, really want to see that removed from the game. So you're going to need a lot of enhancement dust. A lot of enhancement dust. Now, the regular enhancement dust is easy enough to get from chests, because not only do you get regular enhancement dust from chests, you'll often get armor pieces from chests as well, which will typically be common, and you can just disenchant all of that for regular dust. However, super enhancement dust only comes from blue or green items. Where's the best place to get blue or green items, I hear you asking, as you're going to need to grind for way more of this than seems really necessary. It is, as always, always, as I have recommended numerous times, the starting area, because numerous aspects of this game are borked. I'm a little frustrated with some of the aspects of this game by this point. So yeah, you go back to the starting area because farming out that event that infinitely repeats over there is the best way to get ingredients to craft these uncommon mats. Now, it does not matter whether you craft the blue or green, so you should just craft the green. Both of them yield between 1 and 2 super enhancement dust. Now, if you happen to roll a pristine or superior or flawless item from enemies, then those will reward with more dust. However, it's still the most consistent just to craft items and then disenchant them to get dust. And it's easiest to do at the starting area where you can infinitely repeat that event over there and just make these ad nauseum. And yeah, eventually you'll have enough dust to get items up to level 8 without all that much of a fuss. And that's pretty much it, ladies and gentlemen. Roll your item, save your enhancement dust for your legendary and epic level items because you're going to need a lot of it. You get major upgrades at level 4 and 8 of the enhancement process, and wait on getting to level 10 until you see something official saying that getting an item to level 10 no longer borks your account, which basically it would do. It doesn't technically stop your account, but it gets rid of half your items or rolls back your account or something, and that's bad, so don't do it. And that's pretty much it. That's everything you need to know about all of this. Burn up.